So if you always had to tiptoe around their feelings, if they never said sorry or made you feel like your feelings were too much or they just couldn't and wouldn't show up for you emotionally, this is called emotional immaturity. And when we receive this specifically from our parents or caregivers, it can have lasting effects, some that we recognize and some that we don't even recognize. However, there are ways to heal, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. For those of you that don't know me, hi, my name is Dr. Vanessa Milagros, and I'm a licensed mental health professional. On this channel, I make videos about relationships and other mental health topics. So if you're interested in anything like that, make sure to like, subscribe so you can follow along, and comment any questions you have down below. Let's get started. Emotional immaturity in parents is when they're unable to regulate themselves as adults, unable to empathize, validate, or even attune to your emotional needs. And it's important to remember it's not always malicious. Sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes it's behaviors that are learned. Sometimes it's culturally based. There's so many different layers and nuances to this. However, it doesn't make it right, and it causes real, long-lasting damage and harm. Dr. Lindsay Gibson actually separates it and categorizes it into 4 different types. So the first being the emotional parent. They're usually overwhelmed, unpredictable, and almost childlike in their responses and behaviors. The driven parent, where image over everything, even over connecting with you emotionally. And they are extremely achievement focused, going back to image over everything. Then you have the passive parent. And this parent who has emotional immaturity avoids conflict and doesn't protect. Then finally, the rejecting parent. And they're usually emotionally just unavailable and they're dismissive. And emotional immaturity is not about yelling. It's about being unable or unwilling to meet you, the child, the young adult, where you're at emotionally on a consistent basis. So how does experiencing life with a caregiver, a parent like this, impact you growing up? You may find that you doubt your needs or you suppress them overall. You either become hyper independent or overly anxious. You may fear being a burden to someone else, or you overfunction for someone else or others around you. You may find that you attract emotionally unavailable partners or chaotic partners through toxic relationships. And you may struggle to feel safe, seen, heard, understood, even in healthy and loving relationships or friendships. So here are some examples to kind of guide you on if this is you or if this is something that you've experienced that you can kind of relate to. So maybe you ask someone for reassurance and then immediately after, you feel shame just for asking for that. Maybe you feel guilty whenever you set a boundary, even if that person was being toxic and needed that boundary to be set by you. Or maybe you just don't trust the calmness of things because it feels suspicious. Why are things going so right? Why are things okay? Why is nothing chaotic happening right now? So healing from having emotionally immature parents requires a few things. And then after, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how you can actually start to heal. And it is important to remember that healing is not about just forgiving your parents or caregivers and just moving on. Healing is a you thing. It's about repairing the internal model or framework that you've come to believe because your needs, they were denied or they were completely distorted as being too much. What you're actually healing is the belief that your needs are too much, your nervous system's response to closeness with others, and your internal, almost automatic reflex to abandon yourself when someone else is uncomfortable. And if this is you, you already know what I'm talking about. So now let's get into step by step what you can do to start healing for you. First, we've got to work on identifying the core root of that wound for you, because for everybody it's going to look different. So I'm going to give you a few journal prompts that you can actually use yourself to start to figure this out. I would also highly recommend you start your own individual therapy. So journal prompt number 1. When I showed emotion as a child, the message I received back was fill in the blanks. Second prompt. I learned that love meant fill in the blank. And last, I still believe that people will fill in the blank when I ask for help. This awareness of what's actually going on, it breaks and starts to cut off that loop or that cycle that you're in because you're actually recognizing what's happening and not just allowing the cycle to continue anymore. Number 2, I want you to practice an inner dialogue with yourself. And you can start to do this by replacing your old scripts in your mind and in your heart, really, that have not helped you. And I want you to develop them slowly over time into new, more healthy ones. Because we all have a story that we tell ourselves about who we are in relation to ourselves, in relation to the world, in relation to other people. And that impacts a lot more So maybe your old frame of mind was, okay, well, I have to just stay quiet in order to receive the love that I want. Slowly developing and changing that. Instead, recognize, no, I have needs and they can be met by the right healthy people, and I don't need to be ashamed or feel shame or guilt for stating those needs or asking for my needs to be met. And then I want you to talk to yourself. I want you to talk to yourself. We do it all the time. You're not crazy for doing it. But I want you to change the way you talk to yourself. I want you to be that parent or that caregiver that you didn't receive, that you should have received. And you can start simple, repeating to yourself, I see me, I hear me, I believe me. Then I want you to actually regulate your body, not just your mind, because all of it is connected. So working on your nervous system here is going to be really important. So grounding techniques, practice some co-regulation, talking to a friend, talking to a therapist. A helpful tip is also creating a playlist on your phone that you can go to that have those songs or those melodies that just, you feel it. Those are your songs, your melodies that just help you get through things. Create a playlist. Then I want you to work on setting boundaries without feeling guilt or shame. And this can be really difficult, so I don't want to say it lightheartedly. It is going to take work and consistency, but you can do this. So here's how I want you to start that journey. I want you to have certain scripts or words or sentences that you use to help you. Because sometimes when you're in the moment, it's difficult to know, okay, I know I should set a boundary, but how do I set this boundary? What do I say? Here are a few things to help guide you. And remember, this isn't going to be for everybody, but you can kind of play with and see what works for you. So let's say you get the guilt tripping or the shaming from your parents or caregivers, even as full-grown adults or young adults, whatever it is. Here are some of the things that maybe you can practice. Hey, that doesn't really work for me, but I still care about you. Or, hey, I'm not available for that. And I understand that might be hard for you to hear, but I'm not available. Those are just 2 examples of how you can set a boundary while still showing empathy and understanding if you'd like to. Because sometimes it's a little bit difficult to just say no. Start small. Start and then work your way up to the no. And what's going to happen? You're going to get pushback. If they're emotionally immature, they're going to react and act in emotionally immature ways. Expect the pushback. It doesn't matter how you say it, when you say it. It's just the fact that you set a boundary that's already a problem for them. You still need the boundary. So don't self-abandon when someone else feels discomfort. Now I actually want you to work on understanding that the people that you have around you, you can choose who those people are. So look for consistency over intensity. Stick with those who actually repair after a disagreement or a heated discussion. Look for people who are emotionally available and emotionally mature without you having to rescue them. And practice letting people show up for you. Even if it's not perfectly done, even if they don't get everything right, allow other people who are healthy and trying to show up for you. You are deserving of that. Remember that healing, it doesn't mean that your parents have all of a sudden changed. That may never happen. Maybe it will. We can't predict the future. We can't do the work for them. But what healing does mean is that you no longer need them in order to define your worth. And that's how you know you're healing. What's one message or one thing that you wish you would have heard as a child that you're going to start saying to yourself in order to practice reparenting yourself? Make sure you show support and love for each other in the comments. Having emotionally immature parents is not easy, and having support and learning how to ask for your needs as an adult can be even more difficult, but you can do this. Thank you so much for being here. If something that I've said has stuck with you, leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with someone who you think might find this helpful. I'll catch you in the next video, which you can watch this one or you can watch this video right here.